It's been over a year and a half since I covered the first Dragon Quest. I'd say it's time to try out Dragon Quest II Luminaries of the Legendary Line. Like the first game, this is the updated mobile version ported to the Switch. Also like the first game, I'm playing it for the first time. After Phantasy Star 2 and especially Final Fantasy IV, it's nice to go back to an RPG where 100% is a little easier. I'll be maxing out all 3 party members' levels and obtain every treasure in the game. That's all I need to do. On starting a new game, I have to name one of our 3 main characters. First the hero, who's had a few names given in adaptations, but it seems Alan is the closest of them to being considered canon. The other 2 will come later. Starting the game gets a quick recap of the first game, describing its hero saving the world from the Dragon Lord. After that he left with Princess Gwaelin and they founded multiple new kingdoms around the world, all of them ruled by their many descendants, but it's now 100 years later. We start by seeing the castle of the Kingdom of Moonbrook, which is south of the Kingdom Meadenhall where our hero is from. The king and princess are just chilling when the castle suddenly starts to shake. A guard reports that minions of someone called Hargon have surrounded the castle. He tells the guard to gather the others, but a monster enters and kills that guard before he can get anywhere. The king takes the princess towards the cellar and tells her to flee, while he sends word of the attack to Meadenhall. He doesn't get to leave his inner sanctum though before being cut off by a monster. He manages to kill it, but while taking on the next 2, he himself is set on fire. As is the rest of the castle, as the rest of the guards are quickly killed. In the end, only one soldier is able to escape. He limps away while the entire castle goes up in flames. He manages to reach Meadenhall and collapses at the entrance, getting the guards to take him to the king. He tells the king of what happened to Moonbrook and we learn a little about Hargon. He's a dark priest trying to summon a powerful god to destroy the world for him. But after telling all he knows, he dies. The king decides this isn't his job and sends his son, Alan, to do it for him. Since he's a descendant of Erdrick, his birthright has to be tested. Not the king's though. Maybe the never mentioned queen was part of Erdrick's bloodline and the king just married into it, so he gets let off. The king tells me to follow him and I gain control. I go down the stairs and the king tells me to open the chest next to me. He also says I have to journey to Cannock and Moonbrook to find other descendants of Erdrick to help me. Cannock's prince and Moonbrook's princess. I now have to name those. These 2 have since been given canon names. Princeton for the Prince of Cannock. However, I only have 8 characters, so I had to spell it without the O. The Princess of Moonbrook has since been named Princessa. I had to drop one of the S's for the same character limit. The chest contains a copper sword and 50 gold. Also, I know everyone talks all old fashioned, but calling your child fruit of my loins to their face is just fucking weird. One man inside the castle tells me that west of Meadenhall is a town Leftwine. There's some chests in the southeast corner, but a locked door is in my way. There's a teleportal in here that will warp me somewhere else in the world. I don't think I ever need to use this. As usual, priests are used for resurrecting and curing curses, and there's one in the northwest corner. Outside the exit is an inn and a shop. I just buy a healing item just in case before I leave onto the world map. Like the first game, I'm not going anywhere without gaining some levels first. As you'd expect, my first enemy is the classic Slime. This hero only has access to the attack, defend and item commands. The spells were taken away and split between the other 2 party members. After 5 or 6 fights against 1 to 3 slimes, Alan reaches level 2. A few minutes later I get a new enemy to the series, the Morlisk. The only thing notable about it is that it takes 2 hits to kill instead of 1 right now. Killing it also gets Alan to level 3. With the money I've gained, I buy myself a 90 gold leather shield to increase Alan's defense by 4. Like in the first game, talking to the king lets me see how much XP is needed to level up and also save. After saving, I start heading west from Meadenhall. I pass a desert and on the way face my first Iron Ant, but these also die in a single hit. I continue around these mountains to reach Leftwine. This is meant as a halfway point between Meadenhall and Cannock, which an old man lets me know is to the north. The attack on Moonbrook is still not widely known here. Some have heard rumours while others have no idea what's even happened. Upstairs in the weapon shop, I rummage through some drawers to find a Tombola ticket. I'll get to this later. I can't afford any of the new equipment here, so I get heading north. On the way I fight my first Draki of the playthrough. It's the only fight I have before I reach Cannock Castle. An old man tells me a little about Princeton. He's talented with magic but has a weak body, which means he can't wear the heavier armour or wield heavier weapons. Inside the castle there's a prisoner who tells me about the silver key that opens most doors, along with a chest that is also locked behind the door. In the northeast corner we can talk to the princess who takes a chance to shit on Princeton. The king's in the northwest corner. He says that Princeton has already left on his own quest and should be at the Wellspring of the Hero, which is to the northeast. This king can also save the game for me. Fighting outside the castle gets me my first Rat Skull. The only thing notable about them is that right now they're quick enough to sometimes get the first attack in. The fight after that one gets Alan to level 4. Going west I cross another desert and as I see a cave I face the Heal Slime, also making their first appearance. As the name implies, they can heal themselves and other enemies. After that fight I enter the Wellspring of the Hero. Been a few episodes since I've had to use these. Like Final Fantasy IV and Phantasy Star 2, I'm going to be using maps to make my Root Footh dungeons easier to explain. The reason the maps look a little different to what's on screen is that I couldn't find maps from this version, so I'm using maps of the Super Famicom version. I start by going north and then east around a little pond and then south into a small room to reach the first chest. I leave that room and go all the way east and south, west a huge distance and then north to the second chest. From the pond I go north and east a little into a small basement. After that it's north, west, south and west to the third chest, then north a little to the wellspring. On my way to the first chest, Alan reaches level 5. The first chest contains a medicinal herb. On the way to the second I fight my first Cobra King. These can poison me and it does with its first attack. But I already stocked up on some antidotal herbs beforehand, so it's fine. The second chest contains 82 gold. When I enter that basement, it just has a bed and a soldier inside it. All he does is ask if I've cleansed myself in the wellspring yet. He's happy if I say yes, and just tells me to do so if I say no, as it's tradition to do so. On the way to the third chest, the encounter rate gets a bit ridiculous, almost every step for a while. But this is an 80s JRPG, so I was expecting this to a degree. The third chest is just an antidotal herb to replace the one I used earlier. At the wellspring there's an old man who has Alan baptise himself in the waters and pray to Erdrig. He says I just barely missed Princeton, who said he was going to journey to Meadenhall to look for me. That's everything in this place, so I can leave. On the way out, Alan reaches level 6. Then nothing happens as I trek back to Meadenhall. I talk to the king who says that I once again barely missed Princeton. He heard we went to meet him at Cannock and set off back. So I set off back myself. I stop by Left Wine and find Princeton resting at the inn. Having finally found me, he joins the party. This also marks the first appearance of the new party member jingle that's still used today. He starts at level 1, so I have to toughen him up a bit. He also starts with the heal spell. First I return to Cannock to buy some better equipment with the money I built up since my last visit. I buy Alan a chain sickle for a 5-point attack increase over the copper sword. I also buy Princeton his own leather shield. He also gets Alan's old copper sword. My first fight after this gets Princeton to level 2, and about 3 or 4 fights later he reaches level 3 and learns the Sizz spell. A few more minutes and he's level 4. 2 fights later and Alan reaches level 7. I go slightly north of the wellspring of the hero to face some stronger enemies, including the first appearance of the Bubble Slime. 3 fights later and Princeton reaches level 5. Soon after I get the strongest enemy so far, the Magus, another enemy debuting in this game. It can still be killed in one turn though. 6 minutes later, Princeton reaches level 6 and learns the Squelch spell, which cures poison. I return to Cannock and buy Princeton his own chain sickle. That's enough grinding, so I head west from Cannock. Alan reaches level 8. Slightly southwest of Cannock is Gwaylin's Gate. The old man asks if I've spoken to his brother in the shrine south of Meadenhall, so I assume I'm not allowed through until I have. Instead I head northwest of Cannock, through some mountains and over a bridge into the Lake Cave. I start by going south into a little room for the first chest. I leave the room and go all the way west and then south all the way to the second chest. Then it's back north a little and west all the way again and south to reach some stairs to the bottom floor. The first chest has a seed of agility that permanently boosts that stat. Since these are limited and I have 3 party members, I have to think about who I want these to go to. I save this one for the final member of the party. On the way to the second chest I get my first stronger palette variant of an existing enemy, the Fat Rat, next level up from the Rat Skull. I'm not aiming to kill every enemy since there's no bestiary, but I will point out any new ones just to give them that 2 seconds of attention. The second chest contains a Tombola ticket. Right after I get a second palette swap, the Somnoland. This could be scary as I managed to put both my party members to sleep, but they deal so little damage it's not a threat. A couple fights later, Princeton reaches level 7. For the second floor, I go south and turn east for the first chest, then south and west for the second, then south some more and even further west for the third and fourth. After that it's all the way east and then south to reach the final treasure of this cave. Despite just meeting the second ant, I'm already facing the third in here, the Army Ant. The first chest has a Seed of Life which increases HP. Once again I choose to save this for the third member. The second chest has an antidotal herb. The third and fourth have 220 gold and a Chimera Wing, for auto-travelling back to any town and castle I've already visited. And at the end of this room is the Silver Key, allowing me to open many of the locked doors in the world. And that's this dungeon done. On the way out is an entirely new enemy type, the Centipede. I've always wondered how much fun the Dragon Quest localizers are having when they try and come up with these punny enemy names. Right before the exit, Alan reaches level 9. When I leave, I've lost a lot of health thanks to the encounter rate on the way out, so I use a Chimera Wing to warp straight to Cannock so I can heal. While there I sell both Alan and Princeton's leather armours to buy each of them a chainmail instead. Now for that shrine I was told about that's south of Meadenhall, but first I stop by Left Wine. I go through the locked door in the weapon shop to reach the Tombola. This begins the Dragon Quest series' love for gambling. I play a slot and the prize depends on what 3 of the same reels I land. I use every Tombola ticket I find in the game, but I never really win anything interesting, not that I need to anyway, so I won't be talking about it after this. Just know I used every ticket I ever got from chests or from enemy drops. I also stopped by Maidenhall, and to the west of the castle I can unlock a door to a nun and take a Tombola ticket from a drawers. I then get going south from the castle, crossing a bridge, and then when the land splits in two directions, I go southeast until I reach the shrine. The old man inside tells me that there are both gold and silver locks in the world, and the same for the keys that unlock them. He first tells me where the silver key is despite me already having it. He doesn't tell me where the gold key is. And that's it. That's what the other old guy sent me here to learn. I trek all the way back and talk to the two guards who tell me that to the south is Moonbrook before they let me through. There's a gold door I can't open and some stairs leading into a cave. There are two exits, one by going west and then south, and another by going south and then west. I take the latter route for the lower down exit. Absolutely nothing of note happens, and I exit back out onto the world map on the opposite side of the river. I just continue south. Here I face a stronger version of the Draki, the Drakmage, making its first showing in the series. These like to cast Kasap, lowering the party's defense. This lot however don't stop casting Kasap even after our defense can't be lowered any further, making it easy to pick them all off. My next fight is against another series mainstay making its first appearance, the Corpse Corporal. Killing this one gets Princeton to level 8 and teaches him the Fizzle spell, which seals a group of enemies' magic for a single turn. I continue south and around a mountain until I reach a new town. This is Moonahan. In terms of interesting NPCs, there's a woman who once tended to Alan when he was a child, and a dog who insists on following the party around when I talk to her. There's also an old man in the north who can save the game for me. I really appreciate the game giving me more save locations than the first had. A soldier will also let me know that Moonbrook is just southwest of this town. That's about it. So I leave town, cross the bridge to the south and get heading west. After a certain point I move south to find Moonbrook Castle, surrounded in a poison swamp. Not going in yet, first I go east and face another new enemy, the Bad Boon. These are an actual threat as they can do over 10 points of damage and I'm facing 3 at once. My attempt to flee fails and my party is wiped. And so I restart at the last place I saved with half of my money lost. Plus I have to pay for Princeton's revival and the inn on top of that. I face my first Dragonfry just south of town. These are far more manageable and give a nice 32 XP each. I just barely win my next fight against 3 Bad Boons and see a very nice 117 XP. But that one fight required an in-visit. Instead I take a detour northeast of Moonahan, on the other side of the mountains I walked around to get here. I reach a bridge to cross and then get moving south. This is where I face another new enemy, the Smog. This one is a less recurring one, only showing up again in Dragon Quest XI, and despite having played that game, I still had to look it up because I don't remember them at all. A couple of fights later and Alan reaches level 10. As I can't go south any further and have to go west, I see a shining light in a poison swamp. This is my target, but it looks like I can't reach it from here and I simply misread the world map I was using. It seems I have to reach it heading east of Moonbrook. By the time I get back to Moonahan, I have enough money to buy Princeton an Iron Lance for 5 extra attack points. It could have gone to Alan, but I felt Princeton needed the damage boost more. And this back to heading east of Moonbrook to very easily find that swamp. I don't consider that failed alternate route a waste of time since it got me a level and the money for that new weapon at least. Standing on the light and inspecting it gets me Ra's mirror. The purpose of the mirror is to reveal something's true form. The next fight after this gets Princeton to level 9. And it's back to Moonahan once again. Remember that dog that really wants to travel with us? I use Ra's mirror right next to it. The mirror shatters and undoes the curse on Princessa, returning her to her true form. As she tried to escape Moonbrook, Hargon's minions transformed her into a dog and banished her to Moonahan. And she joins the party too. Like Princeton, she also joins at level 1, but she starts with the much better mid-heal spell. Since she's starting off so far behind, I give her the seeds I've collected so far. It's not a huge boost, but she needs what she can get. She can't use any equipment I can buy from the weapon shop, and although I can afford it, I pass on buying Alan his own Iron Lance. Instead, from the normal item shop, I buy Princessa a Divine Dagger for 10 extra attack points over the Cypress stick she starts with. Now that the party is complete, we have a new, more upbeat theme playing on the world map. It's a minor thing, but I've always liked it when games change the world map theme after certain points. For some RPGs, it really hammers home how situations have changed, usually for the worse when a more hopeful sounding theme is swapped out for something more sinister sounding. Right now I just have to catch Princessa up a bit. After a couple of fights, Alan reaches level 11 and Princessa reaches level 2 and learns Snooze from the same fight. 2 or 3 fights later, she then reaches level 3. It then takes about 3 or 4 minutes for her to reach level 4 and learn Whoosh, which is a generic damage spell for 17 to 34 damage. After this I fight just south of the bridge for that Bad Boon XP. 5 minutes later, Princeton reached level 10 and learns the very useful Zoom spell, basically a Chimera Wing in the form of a spell. The fight after that one sees Alan reach level 12, and the next fight after that gets Princessa to level 5. By this point I had the 1500 gold to buy Alan a steel broadsword for a 15-point attack increase over the chain sickle. I finally decide to check out Moonbrook Castle at this point. As you can guess, it's in a right state. I start by taking damage on about 5 damage tiles before I can even reach safe land. These moving flames are the tortured souls of those killed by Hargon's attack. You can still get in battles here too. The King's soul is near the throne, and only now do I get to see the hint about Princessa being transformed into a dog. Princessa tries to talk to him, but he can't hear or feel anymore. There are 2 chests in the northwest corner, but since the castle's been invaded, they're both empty. While here, Princeton reaches level 11. In this corner I can take a long path south through damaging poison to reach the inner sanctum. Then Alan reaches level 13 and Princessa reaches level 6 from the next fight. Princessa also learns Dazzle, which reduces enemy accuracy. Down the stairs is a dying guard who tells me exactly how to find Princessa if I hadn't already before he dies. Talking to his soul will then let it rest. I use Zoom to leave. There is one more treasure to get here, but it'll be a long time before I come back and get it. Back in Moonahan, I have the 1200 gold to buy Alan some full plate armour, a 16-point defence increase over the chainmail. Remember when I ran around the mountains earlier but turned back? Well, now I actually have to go this way. I cross the bridge when I reach it and then south across 3 more. To the west is my next dungeon, the Pillar of Winds. From the start I go all the way south and a little east to the only chest here. I then go north, east and north again to the stairs in the northeast corner. The chest contains a medicinal herb. My first visit to the second floor is simple. I just go west to the stairs to the 3rd floor. There's a soldier here who warns me about being able to walk off the edge of the tower and fall to the bottom. Nothing else happens. On the 3rd floor I just go south to the exit, taking a small detour east for a chest on the way. Up here is another rat variant, the Dirty Rat. Killing this lot gets Princeton to level 12. The chest contains 372 gold. As for the 4th floor, I just go east and take the first set of stairs I see. Nothing on the 5th floor, just west and north of some stairs back down to the 4th floor. My first fight on this floor gets Alan to level 14 and Princessa to level 7. Back down to floor 4, don't need to map, it's just a couple steps southwest. But I do get a new enemy while I'm here, the Spirit. And then floor 3 again is just another few steps northeast. This takes me to a small section of floor 2 containing the Windbreaker. This has a very specific use that I'll get into when it becomes relevant. Then it's all the way back to floor 4 to go east and up another set of stairs. Then it's directly north and up to floor 6. On this floor all I can do is move clockwise around this wall to the stairs up to floor 7. My first fight here is against the stronger Centipede, the Killerpede. That's all. On floor 7 it's a couple steps east up to floor 8. The first fight on this floor gets Princeton to level 13. On this floor is the final chest of this place, containing a prayer ring. I then just drop myself off the edge of the 7th floor to land back outside. Zoom back to Moonahan, and for 2000 gold I buy Alan a steel shield for 6 more defense. A couple battles outside town gets Alan to level 15 and Princessa to level 8 in the same fight, teaching her the Holy Protection spell for preventing encounters against weaker enemies. My next destination is southwest of Moonbrook, cross a bridge and into a desert, and then a little more west to reach another gate crossing the river. Inside there's a priest, but I just take the stairs onto the western continent. From here I get heading northwest. I meet my first metal slime of the playthrough and of course it escapes. At the time of writing this, I'm not sure if I ever killed a single metal slime in this game. Eventually I cross a desert with a little oasis in the middle, and as I'm about to leave it I get another new enemy, the Tulip. That's how I actually say the original word anyway, thanks to my accent. I keep heading north, crossing some mountains and seeing Princeton reach level 14 and learn the evac spell. At the end I see 2 towers, one I can reach and the other on the other end of the river. These towers are the Dragon's Horns and I can only enter the southern tower. There's a man in here who explains that the towers were connected by a bridge, but it's long gone now. Not gonna map these as all rooms are very simple. Right next to the entrance are the stairs to the 2nd floor. The 2nd floor is just an anti-clockwise walk around a large pit to more stairs. From my first fight here, Alan reaches level 16 and Princessa reaches level 9. And when I reach the 3rd floor, it's just a mirror image of the 2nd floor, and it repeats once I reach the 4th floor. On this floor is my first time facing the Medusa. The 204 experience from this fight is the most I've seen yet. After this, floor 5 is a repeat of floor 3. I face the next level of Magus, the Shaman, up here. Floor 6 is the highest floor of the tower. My first fight here gets Princeton to level 15. A soldier up here asks if I have the Windbreaker. He tells me to put it on and jump from the top of the tower to glide across the river. And this is the purpose of the Windbreaker. By walking off the northern edge, it makes me land a couple tiles north of where I should, bypassing the river. When I word it like that, it sounds like some kind of sequence break, but no, this is how you're supposed to do it. I ignore the north tower and get moving, getting my first mud mannequin encounter. Killing this lot gets Alan to level 17 and Princessa to level 10. She learns Kasap. A little northeast of the tower is a new town, Rippleport, a port town. In a house on the west is a soldier from Tantagel, where we started the first game and where Princess Gwaelin was from, so we know that's still around, though he does say that it's seen better days and the king has deserted his post. Another man says that Tantagel is to the east of this town, but at the moment we've pretty much hit a dead end in terms of on-foot exploration. On the west end is the woman who offers this game's mandated motorboating. I'm only pointing these out in case this show lasts long enough to get to all the subversions later in the series. One woman is encouraging me to check out the item shop, but won't budge out of the way and let me in. When I do finally get in, there is one useful item, the Banishing Bell. This makes debuff and status spells like Snooze and Fizzle less effective, so I buy 3, one for all Pi members to equip. Of course that leaves me without enough money to buy the new stuff at the weapon shop. There's been this one woman in the northwest who's been hassled by monsters the entire time I've been here, but no one else cares. As I approach her, she runs to us and begs for help. The monsters demand I hand her over, and I say no. This triggers a battle against 2 gremlins, another new enemy, and one that doesn't appear much in the mainline series, usually just spin-offs. Just a Sizz, a Whoosh and a couple sword whacks take them out. The woman is so grateful she takes the party to her grandfather to tell him how they've saved her, and he in turn is so thankful he gives us his ship. He tells me it's best to start by sailing east to Alethgard and visiting Tantagel, but first, a grind. During this I meet the next level of spirit, the Skeleton. It takes 4 minutes of grinding for Princeton to reach level 16. And the next fight gets Princessa to level 11, her and Alan are no longer in sync with leveling from the same fights. Once I have 1800 gold I buy a Cloak of Evasion from the weapon shop. I give the first one to Princessa since she gets a huge 33 point boost to her defense. My next fight has the next level of Bad Boon, the Big Bad Boon. It takes 4 battles for Alan to reach level 18. 2 minutes later Princessa reaches level 12. 5 minutes after that Princeton reaches level 17, and another 2 minutes for Alan to reach level 19. After this I buy Princeton a Cloak of Evasion too, since it's a 23 point boost for him. I go back to the old man and finally get on that ship. I can take it to a small room where a man talks about losing his own ship and his entire fortune to the sea. I then take the northern exit out of town. Well, now I can freely roam the sea, so I decide to do as the old man says and check out Alethgard. I head south until I can turn east, then take the first north I can find. You can still get encounters on the sea, and my first battle has a Murlosk, a stronger Morlosk. After that fight I go northwest a little and I can see both Tantagel and the Dragon Lord's castle. So I already knew years ago that this game contained the entire first game's landmass as just one part of its world, to show the increase in scope. But what I wasn't expecting was this. While in Alethgard we'll have Unknown World, the world map thing from the first game playing. I really like that touch. It's time to enter Tantagel, in which over 100 years I've had the town merge into the castle. Everyone's all nice and welcoming. One guy talks some more about that sunken treasure. Next to this old man there's some holy water in a pot. One woman owns a shop selling celestial skein, a godly thread, but says she's run out and that the only place to find some now is in the northern tower of the Dragon's Horns. Can't afford any new weapons? I try the throne room but it's locked behind a gold door and I don't see the king. However, I try the second floor of the weapon shop and there he's hiding, but once again, gold door in the way. With this place explored I zoom back to Rippleport and get back on the boat, this time going north. Here I face my first Hawkman. I keep heading north until I see a sparkle in the water. This is the sunken treasure mentioned in Rippleport, so I head back. Checking the northwesternmost corner of the town has me find the Seed of Strength. Princeton and Princessa are never going to have amazing attack, so I give it to Alan. I give the former sailor his sunken treasure, and as thanks he gives me the Echo Flute. I dump it into the bank because I won't need it for a while and I have limited inventory space. I also drop off the Windbreaker since I never need it again. With the hint I received about the Celestial Skein, I finally enter the Northern Dragon's Horn. This place is even more simple, just moving up and down to the next set of stairs until I reach the 3rd floor where the Celestial Skein is just lying on the ground. That's all, and the higher floors have nothing at all. I zoom back to Tantagel and decide to go slightly south to check out the Dragon Lord's castle. The years have worn the original 1st floor down to just ruins in sand. All there is to do is go north to the stairs down to the 1st basement. On this floor I go west and south to some more stairs to the 2nd basement. There are still enemy encounters in here, but they are a far cry from the level of the enemies the first game had. No dragons here. This floor also has the next level of Medusa, the Gorgon. Another touch I should bring up is that since we're back in Alethgard, even the dungeon theme is now the first game's. Tantagel also had Dragon Quest I's castle theme as well. The 2nd basement just has me go clockwise around the walls to the stairs to the 3rd basement. Can't reach the chest just yet. Another new enemy on this floor, the Mummy Boy. It seems all mummies designed by Akira Toriyama must have cutesy names, after Dragon Ball's Mummy-kun. Princessa reaches level 13 on this floor and learns Squelch herself after Princeton's had it for ages. For the 3rd basement I take the stairs in the northeast corner. Not gonna map the 4th basement here, the journey is just a straight line south, and then another one north. Back onto the 4th basement, I take the stairs in the middle going up, and then the stairs slightly northwest, then a few steps northeast, then a few steps southwest to reach that chest in the 2nd basement I couldn't get earlier. This contains Erdrick's sword. I don't know why the first game's hero left it here. I guess he really wanted to make it a pain for his grandchildren. It's a 10-point increase over Alan's steel broadsword. Backtracking to the 4th basement, I take the stairs slightly northwest. The 5th basement is just 3 straight lines, south, west and north. Alan reaches level 20 on this floor. 6th basement is just a straight line east, taking me to the first game's original final room. And it's in much better shape. Less poison swamp, more clean water. In the Dragonlord's throne is the Dragonlord's great-grandson, who's not a fan of Hargon and his showing off. In exchange for promising to kill Hargon, he tells me that I need to collect 5 sigils for some divine help. He says that once I had them all, I have to take them south of where Cantling once stood. Oh yeah, everywhere in Elfgard except for Tentagel, the Dragonlord's castle and the Quagmire cave are just gone. It's unclear if those locations have been destroyed or if we just aren't seeing them because they're irrelevant to this game's story. Though based on this comment just now, we do know at least Cantling is definitively gone. I guess me killing their golem in the first game really screwed them over in the end. In the east of this room is a stretch of damage tiles to a silver door. I check my health after every step and heal when necessary until I reach that room. It has 4 chests containing 173 gold, 1024 gold, full plate armour and a seed of strength that goes straight to Alan. I then cast Evac to leave. I return to Tantagel and after selling off old equipment, I buy Princessa a wizard staff for 4000 gold. It's a 15-point attack increase over the Divine Dagger. It can also be used as an item in battle cast Sizz for free. I make quite a lot of use of this feature. After healing, I cast Zoom and walk back to Meadenhall, the ship following me there too. I sail south and check the map to see where I'm going. See that continent in the upper left corner? That's Dragon Quest 1's entire world, just to show the increase in scale. Basically, so far I haven't visited any location in the southern half of the planet. There are 2 markers in the middle of the sea south of me. The first is a shrine that I sail past for now. On this journey I get a stronger heal slime, the Man O' War. This fight gets Princeton to level 18, teaching him the mid-heal spell Princessa started with. Going south, I land on this island with a castle on it and enter. I then leave. I just wanted to add this place, Durkandor, to my Zoom list. I continue south, passing another island until I reach a small island with another shrine on it. There are 3 warp gates here and a sparkle in the northeast corner. Said sparkle is actually my first sigil, the Sun Sigil. It can be seen in the stats menu. That's all though, I'm not using those warps yet. I take the boat just a little bit west to this desert island with a lone tree in the middle. Inspecting the tree allows me to take an Yggdrasil leaf. These revive a dead party member. I can only have 1 from the tree at a time, but I can come back to grab another one after the one I have now is used. I continue west even more along the southern continent until I see a town to my north. I can't enter it yet because I need the gold key, but like Durkandor, entering it at all adds it to my list of Zoom locations, so getting here is more convenient when I can finally get inside. This place was called Burrowell, by the way. I go back to the island with the Yggdrasil tree and go a little south and then east. I see another shrine on a tiny island and next to it a new town. This is a fishing village, Zahan, mostly populated by women as the men are out at sea. At the north end of town is a huge mass of damage tiles with the story reason for them being that trespassing on the temple brings harm. Talking to a dog has it reveal a treasure on the ground, the gold key. This opens up a lot of new treasures and new areas in general. A woman in one house asks if we know of her husband, who went out with his fishing boat 3 years ago and never returned. Now I have the gold key, I zoom back to Burrowell and unlock the door to the stairs leading into this underground city. The first woman I know of says that to the north is the Foul Renderak, where Hargon resides. I check out the armory and I can't afford shit. Look at that, 65,000 gold. I don't think I've had that much money combined all game yet. The shopkeeper in the west has an item marked, huh? Even the price is secret. It turns out to cost 2,000 gold and is another key, the Jailer's Key. An old man tells me of Don Calico, a master weaver in Sluice, one of the few towns I haven't visited yet. There's an amnesiac named Luke who can only remember waking up on this island and being cared for by the town's priest. There's a prison in the northeast part of town where a guard brags about jailing the thief Rogue Fastfinger. Yet the guy has somehow escaped. So I use my keys to check out his cell. There's a discoloured bit of floor here, so I walk 1 step east to find he was just hiding here the whole time. He gives in with no struggle and gives me the floodgate key to Sluice. That's it for Burrowell, so now it's back to Meadenhall to put my new keys to use. There's a gold door in the southeast corner of the castle leading to 6 chests. A Seed of Life which goes to Princessa, 1117 gold, a Seed of Strength that goes to Alan, a medicinal herb, the Mark of Erdrick, and a Seed of Magic that also goes to Princessa. Unlike the first game, the Mark of Erdrick isn't required to finish the game. When I go to save, I realise this is the first time I've spoken to the King of Midenhall with Princessa in the party, as we have a little conversation. In the northeastern corner of the castle is the stairs to the jail. A prisoner asks me to free him and I do. In return he pays me with information. He tells me that the King of Alefgard has the Soul Sigil. There's another prisoner, a man dressed as a priest with doors and some damage tiles between me and him. I try speaking to the priest, but it turns out there was also a seed of agility at my feet. It goes to Princessa. The priest decides his thanks for me letting him go is killing the party and delivering their remains to Hargon. He turns out to be the next level of Magus, a Rector. This guy is the toughest fight so far. He deals 42 damage to Alan, almost half his health. I start with Princessa's Dazzle while Alan attacks and Princeton is on healing duty. It ends badly as he casts Kaboom which kills Alan before he can be healed along with Princessa and leaves Princeton pretty close too. I get my second game over at the playthrough so far. I try again. Same starting strategy, it's just this time the entire party survives the second turn. The Rector also has a habit of casting Kabuff to raise his own defense. That's not too bad actually. The more turns he spends buffing himself, the more free turns I have for healing, and thanks to Dazzle, he can't miss his physical attacks. The only threat at this point is Kaboom. It lasts a few turns, but then Kaboom kills Alan and Princeton and leaves Princessa with just 12 HP. She's not surviving another hit, so I just say fuck it and try Whoosh. He wastes a turn with Kasap, and my Whoosh misses, so I try again. He uses Kasap again, but this time my Whoosh hits and kills him. I could not believe it was that close. The Rector drops a chest containing a lightning staff. This can be equipped by everyone, but Princessa gets it because it's the most powerful weapon she can equip. When used as an item, it casts Whoosh for free. It turns out the priest in Midenhall is the only one that doesn't do resurrections, and since Princeton is the only one with Zoom and he's dead, I have to make Princessa carry his and Alan's coffins all the way to Leftwyne to get them revived. Once everyone's healed up, I zoom to Canhok. While I'm here, I give Princeton Princessa's Orb Wizard Staff since it's 7 points stronger than his Iron Lance, and having 2 party members with a free attacking spell will be useful. There's a single chest behind a gold door guarded by an old man waiting for a skein of Erdrick. It contains Erdrick's shield. Of course, this goes straight on Alan. I let the 2 prisoners go free, but they don't have anything useful to say. I next zoom to Munahan. The gold door here leads to an underground tunnel with 2 jailed gremlins. Or gremlins rather, the powered up version. They're nothing special, and killing them lets me pick up the water sigil. That's 2 out of 5. At the end of the tunnel, the old man repeats that finding all sigils will get me the help of a sacred spirit. Next is back to Tantagel. I can finally unlock the door keeping me from its king. He just hands me the soul sigil and tells me to fuck off. He denies being the king, claiming to be an armourer instead. But when I unlock the door to his throne room, the guard tells me that the king has hidden himself from the world out of fear of Hargon. But that's where I'll be leaving it this episode. Just as Phantasy Star 2 took one more video than Phantasy Star 1, Dragon Quest 2 will take one more video than Dragon Quest 1. So far I'm liking this more than the first game, but as usual, final thoughts come at the end. So next time I'll get those last 2 sigils and take the fight to Hargon.